Summer is here and it came in without notice, unexpectedly, right around Memorial Day this year. And I'll be the first to admit that it takes me a while to adjust to the hot temperatures, but as you can tell by my red face, I've had a beach day already, which is nice. It's nice to get away, and fittingly, we've got a nice little freebie here for those of you that are beach lovers, and especially for those of you that live near an ocean and collect seashells, and maybe even have decorations at home that are beach themed. Either way, if you don't, these would make great little centerpieces, not centerpieces, but little luminaries for a beach themed wedding, or again, if you do have beach themed decorations at your house, these would be great as well. And of course, they're also a great little project for those of you that are new to Dreaming Tree to try out just for fun. And you'd be pleasantly surprised at how easily it all goes together. So let's take a look at what we have here in front of us. It should be a very simple, very quick project. We've got the actual luminary itself. I've got some gold vellum here, some additional pieces that go on the front of this, and a little base. So of course we're going to start with our base. So what you want to do is get everything folded at the score marks here. Just folding everything nicely at the score marks. We're going to construct a little base, put our little tea light together with our vellum, and it's going to add some nice beachy ambience to any room or party, or actually, you know what, these would even be cool for if your kids are into Moana. You can make these as little luminaries for the party. But let's take a look at the base here. So I've got everything folded, and what we're going to do is begin by putting glue on one of these little triangular tabs here and gluing it to the little neighboring area. I just cleaned my glue bottle off, so it's a little wonky, but that's okay. All right, so we're just kind of bringing that over and connecting it to the piece that's right next to it, making sure that everything is nicely aligned, and you want to just squeeze and hold it together, making sure that it gets a good grip. Okay, and as I always say, less glue is more. So don't overdo it on the glue. I get the occasional email from someone saying that there's, you know, when they work on these projects, sometimes the paper just warps or it doesn't stick. It could be the thickness of your paper. That is always a possibility. If it's not the thickness of your paper, it's probably that you're using too much glue. Okay, so again, I put glue on that next triangular tab. I'm going to move it over here and get it behind this rectangular piece on the next side. Get it nice and lined up. Give it a good squeeze between two of your fingers, and just hold that in place until that glue sets. Okay, I may be kind of jumping ahead here before that completely sets, but I think it's going to be okay. All right, and then we're going to get our glue on the next little tab here, and just spread that out. I'm using my finger to kind of flatten the glue out and spread it all across that area there. And then I'm going to take this piece here, the top or the bottom, whatever you want to call it, and just move it out of my way so that it doesn't get in the way of me gluing this down. Okay, so I'm just connecting that next piece over to the next long side there of our little base for this thing. And just hold that in place, give it a second to dry, which just leaves us with one more little triangle. This one you probably want to fold in a little bit so that you can get your glue tip on there nicely. And I'm going to spread that out. I'm going to take this tab and move it out of the way temporarily so that I can push this little triangle in, get it aligned, and push it up behind this side here that I have my finger on. Give it a good squeeze. Hold that in place for just a second or two, depending on how much glue you have and the type of paper you're using. And I can fold these tabs back over. And now, just kind of like a pizza box, we're going to close this up to finish off our little base. And I'm starting to like closing up boxes like this because it's a fun little challenge. So we're gonna get our glue on the main part of the tab there and then do a little line right up along the edge there. And then I'm gonna spread that glue out with my fingers because it just gives me a nice polished result when I do that. Right up to the edge so it's a nice clean seam, just like that. And then you can flare these out a little bit so that when you take the top of this and fold it down, it grabs more of that surface area. And then just push down and work your finger, I'm using my thumb, along the edge, and I'm just kind of rubbing it along the edge there, but also pushing in ever so slightly so that my thumb catches the top of this, and as I'm pushing it in, it kind of stops this piece from going any further than the edge of this top piece, and that ensures that I get a nice clean looking result. And you can see that that looks pretty darn good. Okay, so good job there. Now this part was already connected here, so this is gonna be my top. So we did a great job on the bottom, but I'm gonna use that as the top because that looks pristine, and I don't think I could do any better than it already being connected. So let's put that off to the side and let that dry. And what we're gonna do at this point is take these pieces here and we're gonna connect them together, and then we're gonna put our vellum in place, and this thing's almost done, honestly. All right, so this little tab here, you're gonna get your glue on that. And I'm gonna spread that nice and thin along that entire little tab. And I'm gonna use my grid system here to help me with the alignment of this, just to make sure that everything is nice and lined up. And then I'm gonna push this tab over just ever so slightly and connect it to the back side of this next piece here over on the left. And then what you can do, you can fold this over onto itself, and if these are on top of each other perfectly, then you know you've got this little piece lined up exactly where it needs to be. Okay, so let's flatten this out, and what we're gonna do next is take our vellum, and these pieces here, this white glitter is gonna get glued here, but our vellum is gonna go behind this, okay, and that should fit pretty much exactly on here. It should be a tiny, tiny bit smaller so that you don't, you don't actually see it protruding. So what we can do is let's flip these all over on the back so that we have the back side up. Okay, let me get those in camera, in view. And then what I'm gonna do, since no one's gonna see this, I'm just gonna use a dot method just to make this easy. And don't go all the way out to the edge because remember, the vellum piece doesn't extend all the way out to the edge, but just add a few dots here and there so that when we place our vellum piece on the back of this, it grabs that glue nicely. Okay, and I should have my brayer out right now, but I don't. That's okay, this'll work just fine. Okay, so we're gonna repeat that process 3 more times. Dots, dots, dots. That's all you really need to get this to hold. Anything else is probably overkill. And I will be honest, my scientific mind often wonders if anything I do is the right way. And then my emotional mind comes back into play and says, hey, you know what? Don't overthink it. If it feels good and if it looks good, go with it. So I'm gonna go with that mantra. All right, so again, just a few dots here and there. The point is that you should kind of escape your day, relax, and just have fun with it. Don't worry about the end result too much. I think that as long as you know that you're giving it your all and you're putting away any doubts or fears or worries, that to me is what I would consider a successful crafting session with myself, or by yourself if you're not watching the video, as some of you have gotten enough experience to download these and not even have to watch me. But hopefully, even if you are that good, you still just put me on just so you can hear me blab. I'm just kidding. You don't have to listen to me blab. That would be ridiculous. All right, so that's done. Let's take a look at how cool that looks. So that glitter on that gold foil looks pretty cool, actually. And all we're going to do then is take these and glue them into place here. And you want to position them so that they don't obstruct the cutouts here. And then that way, when you put the little tea light in there, it will it'll illuminate the vellum portion. So I'm just going with a very gentle pressure on the bottle right now, just trying to get just a little bit of glue on there, not too much, but I'm also trying to make sure that I cover most of the surface area. And the beautiful part about this is that we've got vellum on here, and the glue on the vellum will not dry as quickly, so you have a little more time to get your glue on there. And it may help to actually lift this up and kind of place it while it's in midair, and then once you know you have it in the right spot, give it a good push. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. This is kind of, like I said, this is definitely a beginner-ish project. Not to take away from its beauty, but it is, for the most part, pretty easy. Okay, so again, I'm gonna lift this up and get it initially placed while I've got it up in the air like that. And that way I can allow light to go in through the little vellum there, just so that I'm not obstructing the actual cutouts on our lagoon colored AC cardstock. Okay, so a few more to go here, and then we'll begin putting all this together. I've got a little bit of bling that I'm going to throw on this, and then we'll call it a day. This would be actually a really cool project to do with a kid too, I think, because none of the pieces are overly complex or too intricate for their little fingers. I saw today, and again, I'm sorry that I don't always comment on things, but someone was doing, and I think creating the ABC floral projects with a 12-year-old, I think it was a niece or a granddaughter. I don't remember exactly, but I love seeing stuff like that because it just, big kudos go out to the moms and grandmas and whoever that get the kids involved in paper crafting, because as I mentioned in my live video in the Facebook group, we've got a lot to compete with these days when it comes to social media and iPads and all that stuff. So if they can find that they like this stuff, I think this will be good for them in the long run. Okay, so we've got our seashells on there. Very nice. And all we're going to do now, we have one tab here. We're going to pop some glue on this tab. And of course, I'm going to spread that thin. I'm going to tuck this tab in and just push it down right on this little, right onto itself, basically. You can see that. It's going right onto itself on the inside of the neighboring piece. And I'm doing it this way because I can. I like working with things that are flat. It makes it a lot easier. And if everything mirrors and aligns on top of itself perfectly, that just means that we've got everything meticulously and perfectly lined up so that the end result is flawless. Okay? So now all that's left to do is take this piece and glue it onto our base. Okay? So let's take a look here. Let's flip this over, and I'm going to just put a nice amount of glue in the center of the tabs. Okay, and then I'm also going to run a little bit of glue right out along the edge here because I want this to be nice and seamless when it hits that surface. Okay, and I'm going to spread that nice and thin so it dries faster and has better coverage. There we go. And try to keep it nice and square. Make sure you've got the nice clean top portion on top, and do your best to place that nice and centered. You can kind of jiggle it around a little bit if you need to, and then grab your fingers, pop them in there, and just push down from the inside. And it may help since we want to get a nice clean seam, to get a little dowel or something to help us get that pressure right along that edge inside there. Okay, and that looks pretty good, I would say. We have a little liner piece to complete the look on the inside. I'm just going to take some glue and put it kind of all over the inside. I'm going to pop this in here and glue it down. Okay, so the last step with our little luminary here is to take these little accent pieces, and we're going to put them into where, or put them on the base there so that you have the, I'm calling these little U's because they're U-shaped. That would be like an N shape. This would be like a U shape because they kind of swoop down. You want these two pieces swooping down, or the two segments there, kind of swooping down. Okay, I'll show you what I mean. Let me just get the glue on there. Put that like that. Get that nice and centered. And just drop it into place. Okay, what I meant by two U's is I can't even describe this right now. The swoosh, or the little, it's swooping, okay, rather than rising. So it's not like this, it's like this. But you can actually do it either way, and it would look good, and it would still fit. So do whatever kind of floats your boat. This is how it was designed. So I'm just kind of showing you. I'm just trying to show you how to get it to look the way it was intended to look. Okay, so we'll just get the other two on here. Okay, and all that's left for me to do is take some turquoise bling here, and I do not recommend using the sticky that's on the back of this. I would drop a little dot of glue just as a fail-safe to make sure that this does not come undone, and throw a little bit of bling on there just to kind of pretty it up. So remember, do as I say, not as I do. Throw a little drop of glue on there before you put your rhinestone down, because before I started doing that, I've had a lot of instances where, especially on glitter, if you're using glitter like I am, one day when you're looking at this, you'll realize that, hey, wait a minute, I'm missing some glitter. And it just kind of makes sure that it doesn't go anywhere. And you don't need a lot. So again, I'll show you. Should do an experiment here and see how much longer the rhinestones with the glue last compared to the ones without the glue. All right, so get that in place. And our last one, and that pretty much completes the project. Again, yours is going to have 4 of these accent pieces for the sake of time, and to avoid redundancy, I'm just going to do these 2 sides just to show you. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And again, this is a great little project for someone that's new to Dreaming Tree. So if you are, I would try this one. This is going to go together very easily. It's very easy to cut. There's 4 different SVG files, so it should go quickly. And finishing something like this will give you the confidence to try something that's a little more challenging on our website. So if you had a good time with me here today, take a moment to visit our YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button. And would love to see your version of this. So if you do make it and take a photo, visit us on Facebook, do a search for Dreaming Tree Group. We have a group. There's also an official page, but the group is where everyone hangs out and shares their photos of their work. We'd love to see you join in. And as always, I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. live, craft, love, and dream.